Okay, so hi, this is Donna McGrath here, and I'm going to be speaking about my Miracles of Total Body Healing presentation here today. In 1994, 1982, I'm dating myself, I worked at the NIH and I was a molecular biologist. I originally went to the NIH and I worked with Candace Pert. We shared a lab together. I don't know if you know Candace Pert, but she was a really famous neuroimmunologist. And anyway, we shared the same lab space for a couple of weeks before I went to my lab. So she did internationally known work on HIV, and our lab found a cure, went on to find a cure for sickle cell anemia in 1982. I did most of the work, the laboratory work, and we were in Time Magazine, Newsweek, the Wall Street Journal, the New England Journal of Medicine. And okay, this is better. I have to hold it really close. So we became internationally known for the work. The work was later on sent to the FDA, and then it was squashed. So that's okay. That's what happened. And so I actually didn't. They offered me a PhD at Georgetown, but I didn't really want to do any more laboratory research. So I went into diagnostic sales, and I sold a very, very high-tech laboratory instruments for the next 15 years. So I worked with a lot of the big pharma companies. I worked for Becton Dickinson. I worked for J&J, and I was #1 sales rep actually for New York, New Jersey, and Long Island. So I had a really nice career. And then in 1994, I had a number of personally in my personal life, I had a number of deaths in my family. So my 5-year-old nephew was killed in a car accident. Tragically, and then 3 months later, my mother's sister, my aunt was brutally murdered, and somebody broke into her house and stabbed her 29 times, and it was just a horrific situation. And then shortly after that, my uncle died. So I had 3 really, tragic deaths in my family, which actually started my transformation. So I went inward and went to a meditation group, and I learned how to meditate. I bought a book on how to meditate. It was really funny. I was like, I don't know, I'll just go to the meditation and I'll just fake it because I don't know what they're talking about. So I went in there, but really after that first meditation, I became, this huge amount of peace just came over me, and it was just wonderful. So I continued going to the group, and then maybe 6 months into that, the leader of the group suggested that I read the Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield, which I'm sure everybody here has read. And if not, you should read it probably. So the Celestine Prophecy. So basically what happened here was, this is the cover of my book. And hopefully this will. Okay. All right. So I was sitting on my couch, and this is actually the Celestine Prophecy right here, the book. I sat down to read it at 9 o'clock at night, and I read it completely on 4 levels. Like I read the first insight, the second, and I took notes, and I reviewed my life, and I did some really. There's a book after the Celestine Prophecy called the Celestine Prophecy Experiential Guide, and it's a workbook. And actually, I was doing the workbook kind of as I was reading the book. So I did a life review. By the time I got to the 7th or 8th insight, I did a review of my own life in the book. And then at the end, I got to the end of the book and I put it down to stretch. And when I went to, I put it down to stretch, and literally, this is me on the living room couch, a beam of light came down and filled the entire house. It was mostly on me, but it also was filtering into the dining room and the rest of the house. Okay, so I wondered where the light was coming from, and it was coming from the beam of light, and it was over my right hand shoulder. And so what I did was I looked into the light, and I saw that it was going out to space. And so I made an intention in my mind, and I said, oh, it would be really great to see what's out there. And as soon as I made the intention, let me go back. as soon as I made the intention, I was out of my body and I was sort of over the left shoulder. I was a point of consciousness looking at my body on the couch, just like that. And then I noticed that out of the top of my head on the couch in my body, which I didn't even care about. It was so strange. It was like, oh, that's like a lifeless rag doll. And my body didn't mean anything to me. And I was a point of consciousness and I could see my body. And then out of the top of my head came a smoky type of, it was my spiritual body. And so it came out of the top of my head. And then so it was body, mind, and spirit. And the mind, which was the point of consciousness, went through the beam of light and we took off and went away from the planet. So basically, I'll tell you really briefly what we did. I went out of my body through the magnetic grid of the planet, and I reached the mental realm of the planet, which was right outside the magnetic grid of the planet. And I was communicating with like Mozart, Einstein, Tesla, musical symbols, mathematical symbols. Everything was downloaded to me telepathically. And I was having these interchanges with all these different molecules, which were the higher thinkers from the planet. After I had that experience, I felt like a kid in a candy shop, actually. I'm like, I am a genius. I was just downloaded with so much high knowledge. And then I turned around and I kept going. So I went through a wormhole and it was like the Starship Enterprise with stars going past at warp speed. And I was like the starship going through the wormhole. I wish this was a little bit louder, actually, but anyway. I went through the wormhole and I got to what we can see in the picture here. I went to the Andromeda Galaxy. And so I was just standing there. I was just a point of consciousness. And then the light of God, there was a huge light to my right. And it just basically said, stop. So I stopped and I was looking out onto the Andromeda Galaxy. And the light, which was God, said, now I will show you everything from Alpha to Omega, from beginning to the end. And I was told to look to my left, and there were a number of visions that I saw. I saw the planet, the creation of the planet, and then all of the history of the planet, all the Akashic records or the soul records of the planet were downloaded very quickly into my third eye. And then at the end, two planets came together and imploded and exploded, which is basically basically creation coming together and going apart to individuate, coming together, and it was the circle of life. And can you guys hear me really? Okay, all right. So so after I had that whole download, then the light said, do I have any other questions? And I said, yes, I want to know how life was created and what is the cure for all diseases. Because I was, in the medical field. I am a registered medical technologist. So anyway, then one cell showed up, and then it basically divided into the Fibonacci sequence. And it was like, basically, I was seeing mitosis in 3D, and then that was downloaded into my third eye. And it was a whole concept type of thing. It's like flowers blooming, eggs dividing. In the flower of life, sacred geometry right here, do you see that? That, if you stare at it, it's encoded with all of the information of the entire universe. Okay, so you could actually take this symbol, put it on the bottom of a glass of water, let the symbol go into the water and drink the water, and you will be imbibing basically the information in the flower of life. So it will raise your vibration. That's just it's just a hint for everybody to use. But anyway, I asked, how was life created? What is the cure for all diseases? And the answer to that is really healing on all levels, on the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels. Okay, I like to use my hands here, so let's see if we can do this. Okay, so on the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels. So Okay, and so then basically I was there in the Andromeda Galaxy, and then I was sent back. Shortly after the experience, I had a feeling that my spiritual body was about 10 feet above my head at all times. I wasn't really in my body. It was my Christ consciousness, and I looked at everything in a point from the viewpoint of Christ consciousness. So, and I was able to see the fear in everything. It's interesting. I was able to see how people, when they would talk, that they would be emanating fear, or they would be speaking fear or fearful thoughts. And so I got the differentiation between what is fear and what is love. Okay. And I didn't really speak. Actually, for about 3 months, I didn't speak. I didn't have to eat. And I just basically genuflected to the corner where the light had come down. Because the reason why I can do so many things is because when I think back to the moment where that beam of light came down, the light, I'm trying to give you the concept of how powerful the light is. Okay, the light of God is hugely powerful. It is the creative light. It is the creator. And so whenever I do my healings on people, we're going to fast forward to how does he, okay. We're going to fast forward to why I can do my healings on people so well. And it's because I channel the divine light coming through me. And I know the power of that light, and I can feel it, and I can touch back into that experience and then channel the light through me to the people that I work with. So again, how is disease formed? This is going to be really, really rapid. It's formed from the outside in. And so we have our physical body 3 inches out. We have our emotional body that sticks out around the body, and that would be the emotional body. Then we have the mental body, which sticks out about 12 feet, or it can be expanded to infinity. Actually, if you have an experience like I have, my spiritual body can extend to the Andromeda Galaxy. So I'm like a galactic healer. All right. So whenever we go and we have these experiences, it expands our consciousness, and our energy field gets expanded. Okay, so anyway, but the typical person walking around usually has their mental body out about 10 feet from their body, and then we have the extensions of the spiritual body. So how disease is formed is really by an erroneous thought pattern that goes around and around up here in the mental field, or an erroneous emotion. So if you go into this habit of worrying about something, you're taking a negative thought and you're going around and around and around, and actually you'll manifest that negative thought. So if you have a thought like, I can't pay the rent, I'll never be able to pay the rent, you won't be able to pay the rent, because every thought is creative. Okay. Now, but if you have the opposite thought, oh, I'll be able to pay the rent, I'll figure it out somewhere, money will come to me from multiple sources, and I'll figure it out. Then you will indeed, and you have the determination to do it, then you will actually create the positive experience. So the universe is like a big copy machine. All it does is, your brain is like a cell tower, okay, and it throws out whatever you're thinking about. So and then it makes copies. It's like a gigantic Xerox copy machine. I really want you guys to understand this. And so it's a big Xerox copy machine. So if you put out a positive thought, it starts to make copies. All right, so still, let's say you're trying to buy a car, okay? And you're like, oh, I don't know if I want the white one or the black one, okay? So you put some thoughts out, oh, I really like the white. Oh, but the black one looks really nice. Okay, so now you're confusing the universe, okay? So it starts to create the copies of the white car, and then it starts to create the black car. So you want to be really, really specific and really, really focused on what you're trying to manifest, right? All right. I usually don't give that talk here, but okay. So how disease is formed is you have thoughts in the mental realm, and then you have emotions. And then finally, if an erroneous thought form or a fear-based pattern, a fear-based emotion goes around and around long enough, it will hit the physical body. So what I do in my healing is I pull that out. I know the entire body map of the whole body. That's one of the things that I was downloaded with in the light experience. So if you have a little pimple on the side of your face, I know, like right there, I know what energy to give you to get rid of that mole on the side of your face. And that mole is all about, well, I'll tell you later. But it's sort of about having been a victim in your life, like sort of you probably worked really hard through your life, right? And you worked really, really hard. And it's a familial, it's in your family, you know, it's a familial thing. So anyway, that I know what energy, if you put the flower essence on the mole that you have right there and you put it on every day, the flower essence Centauri, it will go away. Or you could get it removed and put the flower essence on Centauri afterwards, after you get the mole removed, and it will completely heal, and you won't see any scar or anything. So it's really cool. So what I do is I put very pointed laser-like energies on the points of your body where you have a problem. And I know the entire body map, so I know what energies to do it. Okay. All right, now the reason I bring this is everything in your entire life from the beginning point of this, okay, from the beginning point when you were born, going to the present moment of now, there's good times and bad times. There's traumas. You know, this is a trauma, okay? So there was a trauma maybe at age 4, and then a trauma at age 6, and a trauma at age 8. Maybe you fell off your bicycle. Maybe your mother hit you. Maybe you fell off the high chair. Whatever it is, a car accident. You got married, then you were divorced. Okay, so all of these, your whole life is like a gigantic movie. Every second of your life is recorded on your soul records. Okay. And so what I do, so by the time you're 50 years old, you have 500,000 traumas on your soul record. So what I do in a healing is you ask me, oh, I have a sore neck and I want, you know, my neck, I have a pain in my neck. Okay. So I know where it is. And then I say, well, when did that first start? We go back to the original trauma. And so, okay, at age 13 or whatever it is, okay, and so we go back and then I clear that whole trauma from that time and space. It's like I'm plucking out these aberrations and these peaks. And so what I try to do, we set the intention, when I do a session with somebody, we set the intention to clear something. Like for instance, my partner over there had a sore arm, okay? So I know the energy that is held in the left arm. So I asked her what it was, and she said she was angry or a little frustrated with her parents, okay, for whatever reason. And so then I applied the flower essence energy at a quantum level to that area, and already she could move her arm like halfway up, you know, like a lot more than she did this morning. So basically that's what I do. And so in a session, when we set the intention of the session, we have to speak it and set it very intentionally, very, very intentionally, because my guides take me to the years in which that are associated. So it's like a very laser-like pinpointed focus on what traumas need to be cleared in relationship to that arm. Okay. So maybe she has 1, 2, 3. You have 3 more traumas that we have to talk about and clear in the session, and then that will be just totally gone. Okay. All right. Now we would love to know that we would like to have a straight up healing response, okay, with people, meaning we would like a straight graph here where it just goes from point A to miracle, okay? And that sometimes happens. I worked with one of our speakers here, Sean David Morton, and he had a lot of traumas. And we did a session for about an hour and a half, and literally he had a miracle. And that's probably because he's used to years of meditation and focus and everything, and he was able to go into a deep trance and raise his vibration, so that when that vibration gets raised, it's very easy for me to pull out the traumas. Okay, so. And so I cleared all the traumas for the last 4 years in which he had a problem, and then there was a huge paradigm shift. So a miracle is really when you picked out the right weeds from your garden, so to speak, the core issues, and pluck them out, clear them out, and then transform them out of here. And then the physical body just, it takes a paradigm shift and it just boom, and it's a miracle. And it puts you down a whole nother pathway. Okay, so it's really cool. It's really cool to watch a miracle. So we actually have a photo of Sean's face when or after he was healed. Okay, so this has happened. I've worked with about 60 or 70,000 people since 1994, since I had the experience. And my upcoming book, Miracles of Total Body Healing, is going to come out, and it has about 45 miracles in it. It's absolutely heartwarming to me to actually see a miracle happen in front of my eyes, or to hear about one like the next morning. You know, I had one last week, and I have one almost every week, and I strive actually to make a miracle in each and every session that I do with people. And some type of transformation always happens, whether it's the miracle or it's a step towards a miracle. Some people that have had chronic illnesses, they might need 5 sessions, they might need 8 sessions. Okay, so it's kind of almost like pulling them out of the dredges, and it's because there are actually so many traumas on some people's soul that it's hard. You know, it takes a lot of energy to pull those out, to identify them and pull them out. Okay, so at any rate, Miracles of Total Body Healing is not out yet, but it will be coming out. My first book is the first book that I showed in the first slide. I don't know why this won't go faster. Okay, the first book is going to be available on my website within the next week. Okay, and this is all of it. It's called From Corporate Mentality to Spiritual Reality: A True Out-of-Body Journey to Enlightenment. And it starts with me being in the corporate world, and then it talks about my transformational journey. And the point of this book is to actually take the reader from a point of unconsciousness through, and then I talk about the deaths in my family, and then I ramp the reader up, and at the end of the book is my light experience. And I describe my light experience in much more detail than I did here today, because I don't have a lot of time. But the book is really rather good. And you know, it's coming out within the next week. Anyone can email me at miraclesbydonna@gmail.com and either request a session, and in the heading you should write a session request, or you can write a book request, and I will make sure that I lead you to the right place where you could pay for the book, and then I will send you the download, the PDF download of the book, until I get it up on Amazon. So it's going to take about a week to get it up on Amazon.
Please repeat.
Miracles by Donna. Yeah. MIRACLES. Miracles by BYDONNA @gmail.com. Okay. And you all can call me too, if you want. You know, my phone number is 267-392-9254. I will be doing, 20-minute healings at the booth, and 20 and 45-minute healings at my booth here at the expo this weekend. But I do all of my sessions over the phone all over the world. So I do long distance energy work, and I do it over the phone, and that's mostly how I do my sessions. So it's kind of rare. And my booth is right as you walk out the door of the Sutton room. This is Sutton, right? Yeah. Yes. Okay, so if you have any questions, I really didn't get a chance to go through all of my case histories on the video. Mark, do I have a little bit more time? You do. Okay. If I do, then I'm going to slide. The slide presentation is not coming up on the Zoom. Yeah, see, they took the slide. They took the Zoom down. Okay. Yeah. So
how much is per session?
I charge $250 a session. You can have sessions here with me for 120. Just here at the show. But then afterwards, it really goes up because it takes a huge, tremendous amount of energy for me to move the energy that I need to move to get out of, to get it out of people's Akashic records. And so, and then I would give you, you call me, basically I do a free 15-minute consultation. So if you call me at that phone number, then I will say, you might say, oh, I have a problem with, my shoulder or something like that. And then I would just do muscle testing and say you need 2 or 3 sessions. I also don't do one session with people unless they just want a psychic reading or some kind of, I also do nutritional supplementation. So what happens is in order for you to get healing, again, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels need to be healed. In the session, I do the higher levels. And then at the end of the session, I would recommend a custom physical remedy for you to take. Okay, so my guys are telling me right now to kind of run through my recommendations to get rid of the COVID thing. Okay, so here we go, and you guys can write down really fast what I want, because it's none other, it's not like ivermectin and anything that's been out there. Okay, all right, so it's very, very simple. In order to kill viruses, which I've cleared viruses. I mean, I've been doing this since 1992. So as soon as it came out, I went, well, that's really easy. You can just use lysine, okay? And L-lysine, the amino acid L-lysine, which you can get at CVS even, or any drugstore, or a nice vitamin shop. L-lysine, the amino acid L-lysine, inhibits the replication of viruses. So I've used it to heal people with HIV. I've used it to heal people with the flu. I've healed it. It inhibits the replication of all adenoviruses, which this is an adenovirus. The COVID-19 is actually a combination of, it's a molecular construct of coronavirus, HIV virus, and this is what you all really have to know. It has HIV virus and H1N1 flu virus. So when people get it, it's a combination. You might get the chest problem, you might get some mucus and everything, and then you start to get body aches and everything. It feels like the flu. And then you get really tired and you can't do anything and everything because your immune system has been suppressed. And then it sets the tone for the HIV thing to kick in. So it's really a combination of all of those things. So the recipe is, yes.
Excuse me, is that a vitamin?
It's a vitamin. It's okay. It's capital L. It's an amino acid. Capital L hyphen Lysine. L-lysine. It's an amino acid, and you can get it at the vitamin shop, or you could get it at even CVS.
What dosage?
What?
What dosage?
Well, that's what I do in sessions with people, depending on the severity of it. Some people get 6,000, 9,000. But in general, if you start to get like little flu-y symptoms and you think you're getting it, you need about 4,000 for about 3 days. And then it just kind of goes away. I've helped a lot of people. I've helped about 75 people with the COVID thing, but I've had every range of this virus, like from whenever you first get it. You don't have to run out and get some tests, okay? Just take some lysine. And then the other thing that helps it, the lysine combined with something called sambucol, 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 which is black elderberry syrup. It's also been proven in Israel, clinically proven to kill viruses. Now, what it does is if you have a virus, let's just say this is a virus, and it's like a key, and then this is the cell. Okay, it cuts off the key so that the key cannot attach to your cells and get in. So black elderberry sambucol is really good. Take the whole bottle, okay? All right, it comes in like a little cough medicine type of bottle. Take 1 swig of it every 2 or 3 hours for a day or two. That, along with the lysine, will kill it, okay?
I can get that in the vitamin shop.
Yeah. You can get that at the vitamin shop. Yes, it's like $13. It's really simple.
What is this preventative?
Preventive.
You can do this as preventative, but if you have a strong immune system, I want everyone to know that they have a strong immune system. Okay, I'm going to give you something else here. I'm going to give you, okay, so what you do, what my method of healing, and this is just the vitamin recommendation. Of course, if you have the problem, I can energetically clear it, okay? But the last step in this whole 4-step process is the vitamin recommendation. So when somebody has a virus, you want to kill the virus and increase the immune system. If they have a bacterial infection, you want to kill the bacteria and boost the immune system. If you have a parasitic infection, you want to kill the parasite and increase the immune system. That's the whole yeast infection. Kill the yeast infection, increase the immune system. Now the problem is that sometimes people have co-infections, which means they might have the virus and a bacterial infection together. So you have to kill the bacterial and the viral and boost the immune system. So you end up taking a little bit more. But in my vitamin recommendations, I recommend the pointed thing that you need to kill or to do whatever you need. I'm not like a naturopathic physician. I'm not a physician, but I just recommend, because I worked at, my story is that after I had the light experience, I was drawn to work at a health food store. So I worked at a health food store, a big health food store in New Jersey for like 10 to 15 years after my light experience. So when people would walk in, I would see their auras and I could see what they needed. And I'd say, you need 2 of these, 3 of these, 4 of these, and you'll be fine in 2 days. And I worked with like 15,000 customers and just healed them of eczema and everything, hemorrhoids, bronchitis, asthma, anxiety, depression, anything.
What do you do for nail fungus?
Nail fungus, well, you need, in order to, okay, so in order to heal anything, you have to take something internally as well as externally. So just putting on something is not going to really work. I would alternate tea tree oil and oregano oil, which is, but you need to take, internally, you need to take Oregamax.
How do you spell it?
It's O-R-E, oregano, it's like oregano. So Oreganomax, Oregamax. I don't remember the name of the company. It's called Oregamax, so you'll find it on the internet. And you need to take, again, you need to take the pointed amount of things. People sometimes come to me and say, well, I already took that. I say, how much did you take? 1, not going to do anything. Not going to do anything. You have to take the right custom amount in order, enough to kill it for the amount of days. It's why they recommend that you take an antibiotic for 10 days. So similarly, you've got to do the same thing with the vitamins, and you have to take the right amount. So for instance, for you, I would do a reading and I would say, you need 4 Oregamax twice a day for 5 days internally. But I would take that longer. If I were you, I'd take that for a month.
It takes about 3 to 6 months for it to heal.
Well,
if
you do the Oregamax for a month, okay, let's just say you do it 8 a day for a month, and you really have to do it, just take 4 in the morning and 4 at night, 4 in the morning and 4 at night, and then put your oregano on it and the tea tree oil. Get tea tree oil. What?
And for a positive think, I said, oh, it's getting worse, it's getting worse.
Yeah, you can't say it's getting worse because then you're going to manifest it to get worse, just like I was talking about before.
It's on 5 fingers. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, if you think it's spreading, it's spreading, it's
Yes.
spreading, it's going to
Don't
spread,
say
you
it's
know?
spread, that happens.
Okay, yeah. All right, so let's talk about more about the COVID thing. So you want to kill the virus with the lysine and the sambucol.
Donna, we have 5 more minutes.
Okay, you want to boost the immune system with something called a 4-Life transfer factor plus. This product boosts the immune system 437%. It really boosts the immune system. It's very strong, and it's the immune molecule that is transferred from the mother to the child at birth. And so what they do is they purify it from cows, but don't we be worried about if it's vegan or not vegan or whatever. I mean, it's such a small thing, but the molecule is very important to ingest. So the place where you can get it at is at my website. You can get it at www, and just put TF, transfer factor plus, TF plus. This can be taken, as the gentleman said back there, preventatively. If you boost your immune system every day and take transfer factor plus every day, you will never get anything. You'll never get it. You won't be sick. Okay. All right. So, okay. So it's www dot the number four, and then the word life, LIFE .com / and I'm going to give you a series of numbers. Okay, here we go. 108 59 179. 108 59 179. And so if you make that into a link and you press it, it'll take you into the Transfer Factor Plus site, and you want to get Transfer Factor Plus Trifactor formula. So it has the immune molecule in it that's going to boost your immune system. It also has 3 or 4 medicinal mushrooms in there, and those will boost your immune system. So, okay, so now you've got your lysine, sambucol, Transfer Factor Plus. You also want to take something that's green. So you want to take either wheatgrass, chlorella, chlorophyll, something like, there's a product called Amazing Greens, anything that's green, green vibrance, because that adds oxygen to your system. All right. Oh, and the other thing is, if you have a lot of mucus in your chest and you're really into the COVID thing, and you really have a chest infection with a lot of mucus, you want to take a product called Clear Lungs. Very important. Clear Lungs, and it's by a company called Ridgecrest Nutraceuticals. Okay, and so you want to take that. Take the whole bottle for a day, every day when you wake up, and it will move all of the mucus out of there and get you out of the problem. Okay, so you have the green thing that increase the immune system and kill the virus.
Donna, can you give Donna, can you give us your phone number again?
Yes, my phone number is 267 392 9254. The last thing I want to leave you with is I want you to get something called, if you have had COVID and you have lost your smell or your taste, you can get it back in 3 days. You don't have to slug it along and wait for it for 3 months for it to go away. You can take echinacea, and ECHINACEA, echinacea golden seal complex by a company called Enzymatic Therapy, or any echinacea golden seal. Golden seal kills the sinus infection. So some people really have a bad sinus infection, and it ends up being in their nose. They lose their smell. So in order to get rid of actually any sinus infection, echinacea golden seal, 3 a day, 3 times a day, three in the morning, and then maybe 2 or 3 times a day to get rid of any and all sinus infections.
What was the company?
What?
What was the company?
Enzymatic Therapy, ENZYMATIC THERAPY.
Symptoms from the side effects.
Can you pull down? I can't hear you.
What about the side effects from the vaccine?
Vaccine
The
side
same
effects.
thing. Okay, same thing. Actually, you can take all of the products. If you have the vaccine or you're going to take the vaccine, take all of these products first or afterwards. Also, I do energetic clearings of the vaccine. And I've done that for children. I've done it for family members and things like that. Okay, and so I can do a session over the phone to clear the vaccine. I also clear vaccination injuries in children that have autism. So in order to, I've worked with autistic children, and I've gone through and cleared all of the vaccines that they've had in their vaccination history, and then balance their brain, and then go through and clear the traumas that they had that caused the autism. And I've actually been able to bring back children, their speech back, and to be able for them to speak in sentences. Okay. Yes.
Okay, so we're going to be bringing on Sean David Morton.
Oh, okay.
Any last words, Donna?
I love you, Sean. And thank you all. Just, give me a call if you have any questions about anything. All righty. Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you.
You're welcome.